Hi guys, I'm Sandra and this is Kitty. And today we are going to do the assembly and first analysis of the Hornet 3D printer from Artillery. So if you want to know all the details, just stay tuned.
Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Rui and this is the Rui Raptor YouTube channel. If you want to help us out, you can by giving this video a like and subscribe the channel. You can also help by joining our Patreon page or by clicking on any of the affiliate links posted below in the video description.
So, the Hornet is the third 3D printer launched by Artillery. Here on the channel, you can find the review of the Sidewinder X1 and the Genius. And today we are going to do a first analysis of this new model. So let's start with the unboxing. When opening the box, we notice that there is no written manual. And first we have this bag. In it we can find some tools, a USB cable, a memory card and a memory card reader, a couple of spare wheels, a nozzle and a small black tube, and finally some screws. Then we have the filament spool holder, a multifunction cable with a PTFE tube in the middle, and the power cord. Next, we have the top half of the printer, and from here we can see that this printer comes pre-assembled, which is especially good for the guys that don't have much experience assembling printers. Then we have the print head and the bottom half of the printer. Just by looking at the contents of the package, we can clearly see that the assembly will be a quick and simple procedure. So, here we have everything that came inside the package.
The spool holder is made of injection molded plastic and it has the brand name engraved on it. Here we have something completely new. It's a multifunction cable that combines electrical connections and filament feeding all in one. The PTFE tube is already inserted in this cable and connects directly on the print head on one side and on the extruder on the other side. Both ends of the cable look the same, so it can be connected either way. Next, we have the print head. It's equipped with a fan at the front to cool the hot end and two side fans for layer cooling. At the top, it's an aviation connector. This is where we will connect one end of the multifunction cable that we have just seen. We can see the hole in the middle where the PTFE tube will be inserted in. This hot end comes equipped with a 0.4mm nozzle, and in our case the dirt on the heat block indicates that this printer might have been tested at the factory. The yellow plastic cover is molded at the sides so that it can be used as a fan duct for the layer cooling. The printer is divided into two main parts, and here we can see the bottom half. At the front we can see the brand name and some more details. Here we have the display and the button that will allow us to navigate through the display menus. We also have a memory card slot and a small reset button. The print surface is 230 by 230 and it's made of a 4mm thick tempered glass glued on top of the aluminum plate. The bottom of the plate is covered with insulation foam for better temperature stability. It comes already equipped with good springs and the leveling knobs are nice and big, making it easier to handle while leveling the bed. To secure the bed cable, there's a strain relief at the back of the bed. On the right side of the printer and under the bed, we can see the power supply and the input voltage selector. Don't forget to always check if the input voltage selector matches your country's main voltage. Also on this side, we have an opening through which the connection cables come out. At the back, we have a fan for cooling the board, the on and off switch, and the power input connector. At the back of the Y-axis, we can see the Y and stop switch. and at the left side we have a USB connector. As we usually do, let's inspect the bottom of the printer and check the electronics. From here, the only thing we can see is the power supply and the display. The flat cable that connects the display to the board is well organized and it's secure to the profile. However, in our printer, it's being pinched by the plastic casing. I guess this part of the plastic is missing a small cut for the flat cable to go through and avoid this. The display is the Mini 12864 version 1.2. It's a simple monochrome display and includes a slot for SD memory cards. The base also includes 4 rubber feet for better stability. To access the board inside, we need to remove these 3 screws. Although this printer has these plastic pieces on the structure, they seem to have good quality and feel quite solid and sturdy. To remove the cover panel, you need to be careful with the snap fits. And now we have access to the electronics. The board is the Ruby from Artillery, equipped with a 32-bit microcontroller and 4 silent removable drivers. The electrical connections on the side of the board are all nicely done with ferrules. At the side of the board, there is a USB connector, and connected to it is an extension cable that goes all the way to the side of the printer. The power supply on this printer is 24 volts and 15 amps. And here is the top back side of the printer. This is the extruder and the X-axis stepper motor, which in most printers are located at the opposite side. At the top, we have the Z-axis stepper motor. Normally, most printers have the Z stepper motor located at the bottom, but in this case, it's at the top and uses a rigid coupling to connect the lead screw. The lead screw nut is in an old-ham type system to prevent Z wobbling. At the front of the structure, we have the X-axis carriage where we need to install the print head. At the left side, we have the X-axis belt tensioner. And at the right side, we can see the Titan extruder and the X-axis end stop. This indicates that the printer will home the X-axis to the right side and not to the left as usual. At the top of the extruder, we have the connector where we will connect the cable with the PTFE tube. The small knob is used to adjust the extruder tension. Okay, now for the assembly. The first step is to attach the top half to the bottom half. For this, we need to locate the holes on the bottom profiles. You also need 4 long screws and washers from the screw bag. Place the top half this way and use 2 screws on each side to secure it. You can ask someone to hold the structure while tightening the screws or use something underneath. Do not fully tighten the screws before checking the frame squareness. To do this, use a square and measure the distance between the vertical profiles at the bottom and at the top. The distance at the top and at the bottom must be the same. If not, adjust the vertical profiles at the bottom, and if that's not enough, loosen the top screws and adjust at the top as well. Now we need to install the print head on the X-axis carriage. To do this, take 3 small screws from the screw bag. The included Allen keys are too small for this step, so if you have longer Allen keys, use them as it will be much easier. Next, we connect the multifunction cable. Both ends are the same, so it doesn't matter which side you choose. The connectors have a notch, and on the cable side there's a marking, so you need to align them correctly to connect them. Connect the cable to the print head and then to the extruder. On both sides, the cable has rings that you need to turn to lock the connectors in place. Next, we have 3 more cables to connect. A 4-pin one for the Z stepper motor, a 3-pin one for the Z-axis end stop, and a 22-pin one that connects several components. The spool holder can be installed next. Just attach it to the bottom right profile. The spool holder position can be easily adjusted and also removed if needed. And the assembly is now complete. As you can see, the assembly is quick and simple. And this is how the printer looks like. The advertised print volume is 220 by 220 by 250 millimeters. All we need to do now is connect the power cord and turn the printer on. On the display, we can see the Marlin version installed, which in our case is the 2.0.6.1. As for the menus, they are very simple. In motion, we can move the axis, home the axis, level the bed, and disable the steppers. In temperature, we can select the nozzle and bed temperatures. We can also turn the layer cooling fan on and off and preheat the nozzle and bed for PLA or ABS. In configuration and in advanced settings, we can access and adjust some settings such as velocity, acceleration, junction deviation, steps per millimeter, temperature, and filament. It's also possible to initialize the EEPROM in this menu. Back to the configuration menu, we can adjust the LCD contrast and modify the preheat values. It's also possible to save or load data from the EEPROM and also restore settings to the factory defaults. In Change Filament, it's possible to change load and unload filament. There's also a lights option available, but this printer does not have any lights installed. Next, move the axis around to check if everything is moving correctly. And then you need to check the wheel's grip. To adjust the grip of the wheels, you need to turn the eccentric nuts on each carriage. On the X-axis carriage, there's an eccentric nut located on the bottom wheel. And on the left and right Z carriages, the eccentric nuts are located on the inner wheels. As for the Y-axis carriage, you have a couple of eccentric nuts located on the right side wheels. For the best procedure on how to correctly adjust the eccentric nuts, you can follow our other video, so check the link below in the video description. Next is the belt tension. For the X-axis belt, you can adjust by turning the belt tension knob located at the left carriage. For the Y-axis, this printer does not have a belt tensioner, so you need to loosen these two screws, slide the metal piece, and tighten back the screws. Now we can home all the axes using the home option in the display menus. And the next step is to level the bed. But before we can do that, we need to heat up the bed. So in the display menus, go to temperature, then bed, and raise the temperature up to 60 degrees C. When it reaches the set temperature, select level corners. The printer will home the axis once more, and then we'll move the nozzle over to the left front corner. Use a 0.1 mm thick piece of paper, and using the leveling knobs, adjust the bed until you feel the nozzle touching the paper. On the display, select Next Corner, and repeat the process for all the corners and as many times as needed until all 4 corners are leveled. The 5th position is at the center, and it's used to confirm the flatness. When done, select Done on the display. Okay, everything is ready, so we can now start the first print and test the printer. For that, we place the filament spool on the holder and load the filament. To load the filament, we need to push the extruder lever while inserting the filament in the black tube and push it all the way in. You can also use the option Load Filament on the display menus to load it. In the memory card, we can find a copy of the Cura slicer, slicer profiles, and the installation manual in PDF format. The manual looks pretty detailed and it's written in several languages, but sadly Portuguese is not one of them. Also in the memory card, we can find a test cube in STL and in G-code format. The cube in G-code format is what we will use for the first test print. And that's it, you guys. Hope you liked the video and please don't forget to give it a like. Soon we will publish the detailed review of this printer, so don't miss it. We will see you guys next time. Bye!